What's up, guys? Welcome back. Thank you for coming in and checking out my video on my truck over here. Progress has been slow. I've had some issues with this one, so postponed doing anything with that. But I've been doing a little stuff off camera, trying to figure some things out mathematically, etc. I still ain't 100% sure, but what I'm trying to figure out is shock placement for the rear, because I narrowed my rear axle. I can't put them in the intended location, although there may be a possibility of that, just moving it. But we'll see. But the Sierra build, what can I say? It's it's interesting. This is this has been a push for me to learn fabrication. I even bought a couple of tools to help along and aid along with that. It's been a pretty cool journey. It's been a nice little project. Definitely learning some stuff, and that's why I like to do it myself. Is I not only save a bunch of money, but I learn stuff, and this is kind of a hobby. So I'm gonna grab the camera, show you what I'm working with so far. All right, I don't know if you can make it all out, but that is the rear end. I made these things right here to gusset those tabs. Well, let's go on this side. So I made 4 of them, drilled a hole in them and everything. Just put a little curve, in the top and bottoms, just to give it a little interest. And this bar that you see here resting on these clamps, I've already drilled a couple of holes. I already got the studs just sitting there. I'm trying not to tack weld anything until I get an idea. But these things are 20 inches long, fully stroked out, and about 12 and a half fully condensed. Let's see if I can get the camera. When this thing's all the way up, A, that's going to be very close, and B, that's going to hang way down. I mean, even though it's going to be compressed, it'll be more, just past this. It'll be, somewhere in here, but it'll be in an angle that is, I can't even show you. I can't reach. Maybe in an angle, something like that. Mind you, it would be right about here, but that's just ridiculous. Will it work? I don't know. I don't know nothing about shocks. That just seems a little over angled. I can set it stuck. When they're at the lower position, I keep in mind that bottom is still going to be, roughly in this area, but it'll be considerably, it won't go all the way that low, but it'll be considerably less of an angle. More of the kind of angle I think you would want. Now I'm messing around over here, because the shocks are supposed to go right here and then down to the tab, or the arm, the lower link bar. And I can't do anything in this area because my tire is too close, because I narrowed my rear end so much. However, my tire rim combo is a little over 30 inches, so that's 15, is dead half. If you subtract, this is a 3-inch tube, so if you subtract half that, 1.5 inches, that'll bring it down to 13.5 as the edge point of my tire. Now you'd want a little, where'd my tape measure go? Now you'd want a little clearance. I'm putting that on the edge of the axle, so 13.5 puts it, just here, just past the beginning of this. Now that leaves me, 1, 2, 3 or so inches. That leaves me about 3 inches between this and over here that I could run that shock right here. And I told you, just kind of sit that there. I told you they're 12-inch collapsed. Well, this thing's all the way up, minus, maybe, I don't know, maybe a 1/4 inch or so. But that wouldn't put it too far above the frame rail, and I could even go up a little so that the shock is not completely bottomed out. And my tire, which would be roughly right here, would clear, and it would still be on the bar. And this isn't going to travel that much. This is going to travel maybe 6 or so inches, if that, in order for this to travel, for the axle to travel even more. But it's got, roughly 8 inches, 7.5, 8 inches of shock travel. So I tried zip tying that one down, and the damn thing broke. The zip tie broke. I'm gonna have to squish it down again and give it another go, so that I can mock it up and all. But I think now with this 3 inches, keep in mind you got this and you got a bag right here. So maybe, I don't know, maybe an angle, maybe it's not doable, but I'd like to at least try. I can't do anything on the inside. I could on this side, but over there is going to be the gas tank. So I don't know what I'm going to do, guys. If I have to grind this down flush with the frame, I will. If I have to grind this more, down or whatever, I will. But it's nothing I can really do right here because the bag is going to be right here. Now that still leaves, I don't know, 2.5, 2 3/4 inch that I might be able to get away with. I mean, let me get my hand out of the way. So if that's down there, so if that's down there, and this is clearly, enough room for the tire to skate by, or the wheel to skate by. I just think I'm not holding it perfectly still, but it's got some room there. Like I said, even if I gotta lean it forward some, and clearance some of that metal right there, I could. I can't let this go any closer. I'm gonna have to drop a plumb line from up here to down here. You know what I mean? To make sure that I'm not scooching over. I might even bolt. I got to put my axles and stuff back in and everything, brackets and all. But I might even put all that stuff back in and bolt my wheel and tire up to make sure there's no interference. So I've got the one idea that I'm really not loving, and we got that idea. I thought about even I could maybe squeeze it in right here. Where did my tape measure? So I may be able to squeeze it in right here between the bag mount and the mount to the frame for the lower bar. If I let's call it, say it's 12.5, let's call it 13, so that it ain't completely bottoming out. So I'm going to take this down to about 12, but I'm going to put the 12 at the top of the bar. Keep in mind it'll be in the center of this, but put that like that so I can hold this thing on here, and roughly 3 inches above the frame here, pretty kept level with that. But I'm going to have to go up just a smidge higher than that, because that's where where the hole would be, where the bung would get welded. So metal has got to go above it. But you see if I can get this far enough back. But I'd have plenty of room to go in between here and there and sit it right there. And there'd be very little travel required. So I mean, I could even raise this up some. My intentions or to raise the bed floor, but I don't want to have to go, a ton. I mean, I'm hoping I ain't got to go no 6 inches. I like to keep it, about 4. But then again, I get to messing with the bed, and it might not be a good place at 4 inches to cut. That's something I just don't know yet. But I mean, I was mainly wanting to clear that. And when I was talking about that, I never knew those tabs were going to stick up higher than the C-notch. So I was trying to be low profile and save some bed, but well, the pumpkin and the tabs and this wishbone right here, as well as drive shafts. I mean, they're all, well, the drive shaft thing, but all of this is above, and for a ways above the C-notch. I mean, you couldn't even get away with just cutting a bump here, because of that bar there, you would have to make a little triangle cut, go across and come back, whatever. Especially if you're trying to save the bed's floor to the original location, man, you would have to cut, I mean, dang near, I don't even know, that bracket that I raised for the gas tank cross member, and that bracket that goes back and ties into this, I mean, it's pretty high. I don't know. Things you run into, things you got to figure out. Like I said, fab skills to the test. Learning. Which, look, I'm no welder. I'll sit here and show you my boogers. Now some of these, ooh, focus. Some of these I ground down just a little because, I mean, they were really boogerlicious. So I just ground the high spots. But I mean, it's all, I still got to grind that. I already welded and grinded it once. I didn't like the way it a lot of the wax was up in here still. It came down and contaminated. So I cleaned and wire wheeled and re-wheeled. I just got to grind it again. But and there's a couple of spots, I don't know if you can see that, a couple of spots there. Oh, the light ain't gonna, camera ain't gonna show you. There's a couple of spots right there, and a couple of spots right there. Still got to grind, but for the most part, everything's welded, everything's in place. Oh, another thing I did. All right, so another thing I did is I put that gusset in right there. So this is the driver's side. This is where the gas tank's going to occupy. But I cut the frame out to put the bag mount in, and the lower link bar ties in right there. There's a lot of stress I think is going to be right there in that part of the frame. So I put that gusset in, welded it in. Show you the welds. What you can see. This side, this bar here already acts as a gusset, so I didn't feel the need to do another one over here. So it ties in and welds in, and they're roughly in the same place. You can see that's right on top of where the lower bar mounts. And that one's a little in front of it. I kind of like it being in between them better than I do here. If it bothers me enough, I mean, I can always come in here and weld another thing. But I'm kind of proud of them. I ain't never made nothing like that before. But I'm going to get back with checking this out and trying to mock some stuff up. I might cut some stuff and tack weld here and see how it looks. Because honestly, there, I'm liking way better than that. But we'll see how it goes. I'll cut back in when I got more, guys. I know there's a lot of debate about the correct angle that you should put your absorbers in. I think one of the popular things that I found online was 27 degrees. But if you look at a shock chart, the further up from 45 up to 90 you get, the higher percentage of the shock absorber. So 100%, if few degrees, it's less. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to believe. I'm not trying to start a controversy. I'm just telling you, I ain't got a clue. So where I had to mount these, or where I believe I'm going to mount these, I've already mocked them up. I've already rotated the axle with the tire on all the way up and down. And seems like there's not going to be any clearance issues, although it is really close. Really close. But I'll insert a couple of clips of the pictures I took just to, show you what kind of clearance issues I was having or not having, however you want to look at it. Let y'all check those out here. You can tell me what you think in the comments. I don't know how much this axle is going to articulate because these aren't any kind of special joint. They're just a 3-inch, regular bushing. I don't know how much articulation it's going to get, but as long as it don't get a lot, I don't think the tire is going to be able to come up and hit or anything like that. I don't think there's going to be any weirdness. But I'm no suspension geometry, whatever. So let me bring you in here and show you. That's the tab I made for the top of the shock, and it's going to go down and mount to the lower link bar that is, Bluetooth right now. But it is almost 90 degrees. It's about 7 degrees off. I mean, it's close. To give you an idea of one just sitting there, I've taken this suspension and stuff back off. But, I mean, that's basically where it's going to be. The bottom is going to be angled back towards us a little bit more, but not much. But that's basically what we're looking at. Let me see if I can get the camera over here. Just hold on. Get around this axle. So, to show you what I'm talking about clearance, this shock is going to sit about there. And you can see, this ain't even all the way in, but you can see what kind of clearance. Now that's the bag bracket down there, and I did shape it basically to the size of the bag. It's a little bit bigger than the bag, but as long as this don't touch that, it can't touch the bag. Now I'm thinking right here, I've got, I don't know, a 1/4 inch between here and here. I might be able to bring that over and butt it up to this bed mount and give me just a little bit more angle. Because right now, I mean, it's like that. It's, let me see. It's like 5 degrees off of 90 or something, 7 degrees off of 90, something like that, when the link bar is in place. But at that angle, oh, come on, phone. At that angle, down there is enough room. And if I bring this top over that little bit, I can get a little bit more angle, and I still think that skirt is going to clear. In the images that I put up, you'll see it's close to the tire, and I post a picture of it both at full, extended and full collapsed. And so, while I'm sitting here showing you that, this thing was it's a Harbor Freight Special, Pittsburgh. Gosh, I want to say 3 tons. Can't see the sticker anymore. I don't know. It was like $100 jack, 7-8 years ago. Whenever I bought it, I've had it a long time, probably longer than that. Well, it gave up the ghost. I had it out here while I was at work all week. I had the rear end on jack stands like you see it now, but I had it holding up the pumpkin to keep the pinion angle, roughly where it needed to be while I was doing this mock-up. And came back, opened up the storage here, and there was a puddle underneath it. Heck, it looks like there's some residual there now. But yeah, she's giving up the ghost. So Harbor Freight had a deal on this one, so I went and picked it up yesterday. Hopefully the Daytona lasts me as long as the Pittsburgh did. But so that's why you see a nice shiny new blue jack under here. Like I said, I made those tabs and stuff, and I was gonna have to build something off the bottom of this axle, like I said, about 5.5 inches, because the shock needed to go down, 4 inches from the center of the eyelet to make it work with this bar here. And this bar basically gonna sit like that. The shocks would have mounted to those holes and went down to the axle, and it was going to be a severe angle. And that was with me pushing the shock tabs all the way out here close to this tab, all the way dang near with the frame. And that would have just been, it would have been horrible. It might have been great for cornering or something, but ride quality, I don't think it'd been there. Now, something I think something I didn't understand before, and I'm not sure if I understand it correctly now, but people set up these shocks to limit their travel, their extension travel, so that you don't overextend the airbags. I didn't even know that was a thing, but apparently it is. So when I mocked this rear end up, I lowered it down to what I thought would be max travel height, and marked my bars, drilled them, mounted the shocks, made these tabs, and then just kind of laid the shock into place with the tabs there, and just figured, okay, that's where I'll go. And then I checked to make sure I had clearance. Now, originally I had another set of shocks. I had that right there. If I'm not mistaken, these are just a replacement, like kind of factory replacement for the Sierra. But I've been watching Lower Class Fab, and he swears by, so they are the 37-281, and they are for like I said, like a 2005 or so Kia Sorento, or like a 2018 Toyota Tacoma. Now the specs on them are about, this is just rough, but they're about 18 3/4 inch long, 12.5-ish fully compressed, right around 6.5 travel. Now the ones that I originally bought, these, well, they're 20.5 inches long or something, and then they're, gosh, I want to say 13 or something compressed. So there's a little bit of a difference. These are a little shorter, which means I didn't have to, mount that tab. I originally made those tabs for those others, and you can see the ones before it, that tab would have mounted on top of the frame. So this way, now I can mount it to the side and get a good weld all the way, around the bottom and both sides and the back sides. The other ones I would have just had, it basically butt welded right here. It just sat, right here. But, so it's a little bit of a difference. Now, I didn't want to do it like this, and you can't do it like this if you're not raising your bed floor. I mean, you got a notch or whatever, but you wouldn't be notching to here. And right there is where that bed mount is. So, I mean, you can see, it's like 2.5, 3 inches taller than the bed mount would be. Well, because I'm raising my bed floor, or at least I hope to be raising my bed floor, I don't think it's going to be an issue, because I'm going to have some kind of standoffs. I'm going to have some kind of standoffs, for this, to meet up with the floor. I'm certainly not going to get in contact with that. All right, so I tore the suspension back apart. I've got a little bit more welding I want to do. Probably add another gusset along that bag mount plate, and same on this side. And I got a lot of cleaning to do. I don't know what I'm going to do about that bar back here, if I'm going to leave it or make another one or what. I still got to figure out my tank mounts, which that should be easy enough. I mean, not my tank, my compressor mounts. They're going to go back here somewhere. Probably do a battery relocation to this side over here somewhere. Got got to get all this wax that the dealers and stuff put on. Get the rest of this, this crap. Get this off. And there's a ton of it on the inside, upper edge, and on the walls and stuff. There's a ton of it, inside this frame rail that I'm gonna have so much fun trying to get to. And then up in here where it's all boxed in, I'm just gonna take some etching primer or something and just put the nozzle in there and just go to town. Just let it eat. Try to get as much of it in there as possible. Wiggle it around in all angles. But I gotta clean this frame, clean up some of the spatter and stuff from welding. I gotta finish welding these shock mounts. I gotta weld in, because I still plan on using this as a crossbar. I didn't want to leave those holes. So I took the plugs that's a annular cutter or whatever it's called, cut out. Took a magnet, put them on there, and just re-welded them back in. I gotta grind that down and clean it up. But I plan on welding this in to give it some strength back in the top of there, and then get my tank mounts mocked up in here, drill the holes for it to mount, and see how much room I have. I'm most likely going to have to cut this out and build something to go back here for the compressors. But I'll get back with you when I get a little more done. The rear end, I was down here and I just primed it just because I had to put these pieces and stuff back on. I cleaned it down to bare metal. I wanted something there to keep it from rusting, so I figured screw it. And it kept raining on me every time I was able to get down here. It was rainy, or it was 100% humidity, so it was flash rusting. So I figured screw it. I just throw some primer on it. It's not like the final whatever. I just trying to keep the damn thing from rusting on me. And if you don't know what I mean, this right here should give you an indication of how bad it's been. So it's humid down here in Georgia. It is certainly humid. But I'm going to try to get some stuff done here. I still got to cut the things off of those spring hanger brackets. But I'm going to get started cleaning, and I'll get back with you when I get something else done. Alright guys, here I cut in and show you. These are the link bars. The lower link bars. That's the bungs. Drilled a hole, welded them in, grinded them down, try to make them look a little better. I put a ton of weld on them, knowing that I was going to grind it, so I could hopefully make it look a little better, but it still looks like crap. But I'm out here fighting with getting all the bushings out of the ends here. Case in point, there you go. So that's my last one. I've done all of these. The reason I'm taking these out is I'm going to go get these bars. I spray painted these with some BHT or Rust-Oleum or some kind of metallic grade that I just had left over in the cabinet up there. I bought this kit probably 3 years ago, and I just didn't want it rusting, so I just sprayed something on it. And that's what you see. That's what that is. But I plan on taking them to a powder coater and getting these 3 bars powder coated, and possibly my control arms, the upper and lower control arms for the front, if I can figure out how to get the Jeebus joint out of the upper control arm. But figured I'd show you what I come up with. I don't know if anybody else, I've never dealt with these, so I don't know if anybody else knows a better way, but this is what I've been doing to get these off. And they were a booger to get in. I had to beat them like a redheaded stepchild. But so got a 1/2-inch deep well socket. Doesn't matter what size or whatever. But for that right there, I lube these up with PV Blaster, whatever this is. Yeah, PV Blaster. I lube it up good. Then I hammer that down until I get that piece out. Then I take this flathead screwdriver, I put it in here, I pinch it up just like that, and then I spray that PV Blaster. And I do this in 3 or 4 areas around and just let it drain. And then as I'm hammering this thing down, it's kind of vibrating and shaking and whatever, and it gets that fluid on down, I guess. Now I even come down here on the bottom, do the same thing. If I can get this in here and pinch it up and spray the PV blaster in. Then I take the socket, like I said, with the hammer and beat it down, get it all the way out, and then take the screwdriver and knock the socket out. And then I can take that flathead, I can put it right here, twist it, get it in so that I'm up against get it in so I'm up against the edge, and then twist it up in about a 45 and just lightly tap it in a few places with that hammer, and it'll slowly but surely start to nudge its way out. Once I've got it out, that one side out, then I've got this, I just picked up some socket. It doesn't really go with anything that I just had. And it fits down in that hole, and it'll hit these are 2-piece. I don't know if you knew that, but they're cut in half here. So once you get one half on, you flip it over and you put this in, and you can hit it from inside of here with a hammer and just push the other side out. I thought I was in for an all-day affair with these, but they're not that bad. I mean, a little bit of time consuming, but they're not bad at all. Now the Jeebus joints, which is like a Michigan Metalworks special ball joint for the upper control arms. I don't know. I ain't got a clue about them. I haven't never messed with them, so that's going to be a learning experience. But just wanted to clue you in, getting that done, getting these ready. They're going to be going to powder coat. I really don't know what color to powder coat them. Dismantle them and get them powder coated. I'll be powder coating them. I've got that, I don't know if you can tell, that Eastwood powder coat oven there. I can do them. I did the front ones. So that's going to be my next step. Now I'm going to get in here, and I've been finding little, burn through holes or whatever. I've been going around, and the camera's not going to focus. I'm going around and kind of spot welding certain little spots. I'm going to fill them back in and or fill them in like that and then grind them back down. This one right here, I just wanted an extra, because I've been grinding this down so much. I just wanted a little more. If I end up removing this bar, I'm going to cut this out and do like I did here. Fill it in, smooth it out. Not trying to make it look beautiful or anything, just getting rid of a giant hole. Show you next time I get something accomplished. All right, guys, building a cross member here for the air compressors. These are that is the mount for the compressor, and you'll see with that one on the, I'm going to call this the outside mount. It lines up with the hole, and this one with the inside lines up with the hole. But I bought these. I know I ain't got all the parts on them. You might not be able to recognize them, but they have a spring that sits in here, and then there's a bolt that goes up and down and bolts them together, and it's got 2 pieces of like metal or whatever that collapse. It's supposed to be a vibration isolator, to keep these things from making as much noise as they could otherwise, like with just these. Now those have a rubber dampener, and I'm sure they do some good. I'm not saying they're not, but these are supposed to be better. Well, these brackets need to be bigger because the rubber and the hole and everything is bigger. So if I line that one up with where that one is, you can see how far off it is. Now if I were to mount this to the back side of the bracket, it's still a little off, but it's, I think, manageable. But the problem is this bolts to this on the back side. This is the part that has threads. If I try to put this on this side, it's the only thing it's really going to be holding is this. It's not going to be holding the cap of this anymore, because it's not a nut or anything to hold it on this side. And with both of these lined up where they're supposed to be, let's see if I can get it. You see how far off that is? And then if I take this one and I put it in the same place, same thing, that much farther off. So I'm trying to figure this out, because I figured no matter how much bigger these were, as long as they went on, you know, the inside or the outside of the bracket or whatever, they'd still line up. But that is just not the case. Now, if both of these mounted on the inside or something and it lined up, maybe. But I used some tappers that I got to mount that bracket there for mock-up. I just utilized the existing holes in the bracket and everything. I think what I'm going to do is on one of them slits, I'm going to go ahead and cut that bracket, separate it, you know, get it mounted to these and separate it to the distance it needs to be, and then try to tack weld either on the front or the back or whatever, just to hold them in place, and then maybe unbolt these brackets, and then finish welding these things, these mounts on in the correct spacing, so that I can utilize these deals. But you know, when you're building things, you're going to run into a lot of little things like this, and don't let it get you down. Don't think you got to order more parts. It's just metal, guys. You know, just fabricate something. You know, figure out a way to make it work. And this is a simple issue, but you know, when you order something online, you think, oh my gosh, it's the right one, blah blah blah, and then you order something else. You know, you find out on the web description it doesn't tell you this bracket is sitting wider or whatever. It really shouldn't be an issue. I mean, I would have thought I could have corrected it by simply mounting it on the opposite side or something, because it almost lines up. I mean, it's very, very close when you do that. And I thought that's all I'd have to do once I saw how big they were. But it's off just enough, and the way that this head, I guess, of the compressor bolts on, you know, this part's got to be bolted to this part with the threads to keep that, you know, in place. So back to the drawing board here a little bit. Like I said, I'm going to unbolt them, cut it, mount it back up to the compressor, put it back on here, and once I get that done, you know, tack weld it or whatever, unbolt it, weld it on, you know, all that good fun stuff. But what I thought was going to be a quick mock-up, you know, is not. All right, guys, I got my tank mount. You can see the head of it there. It goes down. Let's see if we can get a view. Got my tank mount just sitting here. I got the tanks mounted to it. Going back with some assembly. Finally, this bracket, I had a couple of light spots. I've re-hit it in a couple of areas. Tried to make sure you get down in here, but when this is just sitting here, it's actually going to get mounted to the bottom of the frame. I just got it sitting there. I'm just trying to make sure. I'm putting it together, mocking it up, trying to make sure that everything is done. There's no more fabrication needed. It's been a long time, but as you can tell, I got the rear of the frame done up in the bed liner all the way back now. That cross member there, as well as my 3 link bars there, I had them all powder coated. So all of them are powder coated in a satin black. In that bucket right here is my spindles and upper and lower control arms for the front. They got powder coated that black as well. And I had this sitting in here, and I spraying some primer and got a little on it, but oh well. I might touch all this up with something once it, you know, I get it completely mocked up. But I wanted to get this done, like I said, just to make sure everything is done, you know, mocking up and stuff, while I still got a little bit of paint for touch up if I need it. Otherwise I'll have to order some or go to the store. But yeah, I'm about to get this in and get the compressors right there, get them mocked in. Like I told you before, let's see if I can roll this over. I had to cut them and separate them, and then I ground the edges on them a little bit and kind of gave it a little bit of shape. But that's where the compressors are going to sit. One of my, I don't know what that is. I sprayed up in it. I mean, you can't see, but I sprayed up in it as best I could with primer, and then also bed liner stuff. Try to prevent it from rusting. This is going to be how it, attaches to the frame. It's going to bolt in. This side here, I made big enough to hopefully get a socket in there, so that once it's attached to the frame, you're not going to really have access to that hole right there. So hopefully I'll be able to get a socket in there. Get whatever nut I use out if I ever need to service it for any reason. This cross member, as you can see the holes it's going to bolt in. There are holes there. Like I said, just sitting here. You can see them. So another step forward. I'll have this compressors and stuff mocked up and put on here today. I might even start getting some of this shop cleaned up and stuff, because I got crap everywhere. I mean, it's an absolute mess. You can see it. When you're in the middle of a project, crap piles up if you don't clean up behind yourself. All right, guys, let me cut in here and explain a little bit to you. I've either lost footage. I know I had one corrupt file, failed to hit play. I don't know. I've been looking for weeks trying to figure it out. I'd have made this video, what you've seen up to this part, 3 different times, looking for the files, etc. And it just felt poorly done, leaving it on a cliffhanger with just no outro or no finished, where I am at this moment kind of thing. So I'm going to cut in here and give you an update and show you re-show you, re-video what I lost to some degree. Now, I mean, I lost footage of me cleaning this frame, talking about that little gas can right there and the diesel and how it's pretty good at using to clean the wax residue and stuff off. I lost footage of me making these things here and welding them on. I lost footage of me putting them on the shop towers, making them, figuring it out, welding them on, etc. I mean, I lost 3 or 4 files at least. I don't know what happened. I lost files of me mocking these up on this thing. I do have a little bit of file for me making the brackets, but this is where we are currently. I got the frame painted from the cab back with that truck bed liner stuff. I lost files of cutting that factory cross member out, cutting the square out, welding it in, closing in that hole. I lost files of why this thing's here, because when I cut that bracket out, it popped out about 3/8 of an inch. It's a good thing I took a measurement ahead of time, so I pulled it back in where it needs to be, and that's how I cut and stuffed this last bracket with the air compressors. But I lost a lot of footage, but I wanted to keep you informed to where I'm at. So as you can see, I believe all of the fabrication, there might be 1 or 2 little minor things, but all of the fabrication aspect is done back here. It is a mess in here, but I believe it's all done. I'm working on this today. Got it back from the guy. You can see these welds and stuff. I might insert a clip and show you that after I put these axles together with no fluid still in it, still empty, it was weeping there was moisture weeping through my welds on both them spots. So the guy at work could never make it down here. He just couldn't get away, and we have different off days and blah, blah, blah. So I asked him if I brought him the axle, if he would just go over anything he didn't think was sufficient. So he'd done some welding, a little bit more welding on a couple of these brackets, and he wasn't sure because I ground it so smooth. He wasn't exactly sure where my seam was. So he just kind of threw on a bunch of hot stitch welds with some ice packs and stuff to hopefully not blow out the seals and bearings that I just put in. But I told him don't worry about that, you know, whatever. But I'm priming it and trying to get it, you know, somewhat painted. I'm gonna throw a whole nother coat on it. I just wanted to get some of the worst areas done right now. Plus, you know, those jack stands, they're gonna dig into it. So I'll probably have to do the last little bit of painting once I get it up here and installed. I think I already showed you that all my link bars and stuff are powder coated. I showed you the shock mounts. I really think with that 1/4 inch piece right there, kind of, you know, gusset, if you will, I think it'll be plenty strong. I hope so. I know these don't add much strength, but hopefully they do something. I had some video footage where I was showing you, let's see if I can grab it. I was showing you these kind of wedged up in here and what it looked like. And look, these are cool or whatever, you know, but these are going to go out of style. They'll go out of style or something, you know, whatever. But clean and simple, you know, that'll always be in style. So I just figured I'd make my own. And those are, you know, 1/4 inch or so wide brackets. I got the bridge in. I think I got some footage of me getting the bridge in, but because it was going to be a shop tower or whatever, but it didn't work out. I got my tanks mounted in. I got my compressors mounted in, and these are ready to be, you know, screwed in and installed. I haven't done any of the wiring. Haven't done any of the plumbing. That'll be what next video is. I think, I'm not even sure. See that little 2-inch wide gusset there? I've got one over here as well. I know I showed you that bigger one to the right, but I don't think I showed you that one right there dead on the bag mount, and that one right there dead on the bag mount. I figured while I'm in here, I might as well, you know, reinforce it as much as I can, because I think that bag mount and then where the lower link bar you know, hits the bottom of that frame over there, that's going to be the two most stressed out parts of the frame. Nothing back here will be, because nothing of the suspension comes backwards. So, but I got the compressors mounted. Got them with those isolating pad, whatever thingamabobs on there. I'm not sure if I got these right. This one I had to put on backwards because there's not enough room in here to get that thing in there, you know, through there. It's a long bolt, but all the rest are on the other way. And I don't know if this is right or not. It didn't really come with any instructions. I'm just trying to wing it. But I'm going to try to get that gas tank mounted. The suspension, once it's painted, up in here with the link bars and the bushings put back in. Get the airbags and get the shocks in, and then I can put some air to the airbags and sit this thing back down on the ground. Now I do still have that little deal that I've got to get on there. That is the ABS module thing that sits under the frame under the driver's seat. I've still got to get up under there. The one that's under there, I tried just to take that module off, and one of the 4 heads of the Allen head bolts stripped. So I'm gonna have to take all the lines loose, all that fun stuff, get up under there and bolt it back to the bracket and all that. And I think I've told you before, I might have lost this footage too, but that drive shaft, you can see down there, I have a new center, carrier bearing, all new U-joints, etc. All that's been replaced. So when I get this thing back together, the rear end should be good to go. Then I could roll this thing out of here finally. Since what, September of last year, I could roll this thing out of here and spin it around so we can get started on the front, maybe. So that's kind of where I'm at with this build. It's been here since sometime in September. Plus I just bought the bike. Been working on it a little bit. I've been waiting on parts. I don't know if I've told you this, but I had a huge ordeal with my powder coater. You know, when I picked up those parts over there, the link bars and everything, I paid him for everything, but he never did give me my calipers for the rear back. It's always been one excuse after the other, or just ghosting me completely. He was supposed to do all 4 of my rotors, and like I said, I paid him for all this. He seemed like a good dude. I trust him. Learn from me. Don't trust. But anyway, I ordered a couple of new calipers. So I've got 2 new ones. So I'll be powder coating. I got to clean them up and all that. And it's completely loaded caliper, so I got to tear them apart, take the seals out, all that fun stuff. I'm not looking forward to it. But I do have a small Eastwood powder coating oven, and I have the ability to do it. Now I might be doing that in the next couple of weeks. I still got to build or cut or whatever brake lines for the rear axle, since I narrowed it 3 inches on each side. I'm probably just going to use unions. I know there's a lot of controversy about that, but I have had vehicles in my family that have had unions on them for 15 plus years. Not one issue, not one drop of leak. So I feel fairly confident in a union, despite, you know, everything that everybody likes to say about it. I personally haven't had any bad luck with it. There's one union on this truck already. So I do have an entire brake line Dorman kit, you know, like all the middle lines. I don't know if that comes with axle lines. I won't know until I can, you know, get most of this crap out of here and get that box up out of here and open it up and check it out. This is why I like DIY. Anytime I send something off to somebody, 90-something% of the time, I get pushed around, screwed around, ignored, overcharged. They don't do a quality job. They don't do as quality as I would have had I been able to do it. But I can't have every stinking tool to do every stinking job down here in a storage facility. I don't even think I can do it in a big old 20 by 40 or whatever, you know, something twice the size. But I try to do as much as I can because I prefer, I love my vehicles. To them, it's just a paycheck. I know I'm going to treat it better. I know I'm going to do it better if I'm, you know, able. Now, clearly, I'm not a certified welder and this and that, and there's going to be some sketchiness and this and that. But I can't have a paint booth. I can't have a full-fledged metal shop. I can't have a full-fledged wood shop, a full-fledged electrical shop, a full-fledged upholstery, all in a storage building. I have the ability to powder coat things that will fit in that, and that is about the size of a residential microwave, maybe just an inch or 2 taller. So if it ain't going to fit in, I can't powder coat it. So I have to sub this stuff out to people. And, you know, what can I say, man? The American, business mindset of people just is not what it should be. And it's a shame that people don't take more pride. That's it, guys. I just wanted you to understand why this is taking so long, what's been going on, you know, and kind of give you a brief description so that you kind of comprehend the behind the scenes situation. But hope you enjoyed what I've got done. I hope you enjoy the progress so far. Do the YouTubey things, like, subscribe, blah blah blah, or don't. Do you, baby? But y'all take care, man. See you next time.